Okay. We're going to start the meeting. Unfortunately, our RSCA nominating committee, the first person on the agenda is having trouble getting on. So we're going to skip right into the bulk of the meeting. So good evening. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to attend the Redwood Shores Community Association's annual meeting. Hopefully everybody knows that RSCA is the advocate for Redwood Shores, and we're very proud that this association has been working for almost 52 years in Redwood Shores. I hope that this evening you'll learn a little bit more of what's going on in the shores and what some of the future holds for living here in Redwood Shores. So I'm going to have to change the agenda a little bit. We're going to skip over, sorry, computer. We're going to skip over our election of the board members until poor Martha can get on. And we're going to go straight to the Redwood City updates. I can't tell, is Giselle on?
Right here, Sue.
Oh, hi, Giselle. I'm sorry. I have to be honest with everybody. I am not the IT person. Thank God for Stephen and Shannon. So I'm going to let you, Giselle, go right into and let us know what's going on within Redwood City.
Well, fantastic. I don't know who has the slide deck. It might be Melissa, who would be pulling it up. I'm looking for her.
So we sent it to Stephen. I'm hoping he's.
Oh, okay. And if not, I think I have it on my desktop and I could, well, actually, no. So we made some changes, so maybe he could pull it up. But I'm happy to just start with some intro remarks while we are waiting for Stephen. Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you to Sue and to all of the members of the board who operate this organization and keep your community thriving. And I wanted to say thank you to all of the members of our city staff who are on the call this evening. I see quite a few. I won't go through and name all of them, but it is great to see them on the call. And then I wanted to say thank you to all of you for making the time, investing this time in your community and understanding more about what is going on. I think we would all agree that we hoped by now we would be meeting in person. I recently heard somebody refer to this now as the trilogy of COVID as we are entering our third calendar year. And it certainly had its lasting effects on all of us. I did want to flag that when I became mayor in December, both myself and Mayor McDowell, who I see on the call, spoke about the need for additional resources in mental health. And that's an issue that she and I have been spearheading since we took our oaths as mayor, and hope to talk about that with all of you at a future date. But for this evening, we do have an agenda. And while we're waiting for the slides, I'll just give you a preview of what that is. Tonight, myself and City Manager Stevenson Diaz, along with Councilmember G, are going to give an update on what is happening in the city. We'll talk a little bit about homelessness, certainly a topic many of you have asked about. Our redistricting update, what's happening there. Certainly COVID-19, the recovery strategy. A little bit more about the People's Budget, which is a new and innovative pilot program that we're running. And then broadening our boards and commissions recruitment. We'll talk a little bit about some of the current development projects that are underway or being proposed in the shores, parks projects that are proposed or underway in the shores, and an update on transportation projects. And if we can move to the next slide. The text or the photo on slide 3. Great. So since becoming mayor in December, I would say one of the most frequent questions that I've received is around the perceived and likely real increase in homelessness. You know, residents wonder, where has this come from and what exactly is the city doing about it? Well, let me assure you that housing and homelessness have actually been a #1 priority of the City Council since 2019. And yet, homelessness is a very complex issue with a variety of contributing factors, including mental health resources, addiction, and a lack of affordable housing. Next slide, please. So homelessness really is so complex that it requires solutions at all layers of government. And we have been partnering with both the state and the county on immediate and long-term solutions. And I wanted to share a couple of examples that you may be aware of in the shores. And so first is we've been looking to create opportunities for more non-congregate homeless shelter. Why non-congregate? When you think of homelessness, you often think of shelters. Well, there are a lot of individuals who are not interested in living in a congregate setting. And for them, getting them off the streets really does require having a non-congregate facility. And so that would be in reference to the county's purchase of the Pacific Inn in Redwood City, which would create a shelter that will be operated by the Samaritan House, which has been an ongoing partner with Redwood City on delivering homelessness services. Second is the county's purchase of the Town Place Suites, of course, in the shores, which actually creates extremely low income affordable housing for residents who are currently experiencing homelessness or who are at risk of experiencing homelessness. And this housing is in particular for seniors. It opened in 2021, and the Comfort Inn in Redwood City is also being added to create extremely low income affordable housing for Redwood City residents experiencing homelessness. And that is slated to open in 2022. Next slide, please. So additionally, last year, we approved a land swap with the county, which will quickly allow us to add hundreds of beds of temporary housing and a navigation center. And this project, you may have seen in the news, recently received $55 million in funding from Governor Newsom. It was an absolute collaboration between local government, county government, and the state. And this navigation center will house a projected 280 homeless individuals experiencing homelessness, including couples. And it will be in 240 independent modular units. And we look to have that up and running by 2023. Next slide. Also want to give an update on our safe parking program. This is actually where we started among our homelessness initiatives. And this was all about transitioning RVs. So we had residents living in RVs off of city streets where they were impacting both residents and businesses, and onto a parking lot where they could be put on a path to permanent housing. And I'm very proud to say that in addition to working with nonprofits, we actually worked with state legislatures to get a law changed that would allow this program to operate 24/7. Prior to our work on this, these programs were only allowed to operate overnight, which meant the residents had to go back onto the city streets during the day, which really wasn't solving a problem for anyone. So we worked with Assemblymember Ting through our staff on AB 2553. And that change not only was it made for Redwood City, but statewide. So it's been able to help a lot of communities grappling with the same challenges. Our program launched in October of 2020 in tandem with our city's prohibition of overnight parking of RVs on the streets. And we have successfully shifted the presence of unsheltered households in RVs from the street. We at the high point, I think we were up to 140 RVs per night, to now an average of 12 to 15 per night. So the program is operated by Life Moves, our nonprofit partner, and it includes access to services to help these residents find permanent housing. And I'm very pleased to report that of the households who continue to participate in the program, over 50% have been matched to some form of housing subsidy, and they are on a path towards transitioning to permanent housing. And it is important to note that 85% of the program participants were actually Redwood City residents prior to living in their RV. And many of them work in our community, have families in our community. So these truly are Redwood City residents. Next slide, please. And so now we're turning our sights to encampments, which we have certainly seen a growth during the pandemic. Now, most of these encampments are along the corridor of Caltrans property, and as such, it requires our coordination with Caltrans. we are obligated to work under their policies, their timeline, and with their resources. And as you can imagine, this makes it very difficult to be as responsive as we would like to be to our residents. However, I can assure you our staff is in constant communication with the local Caltrans right-of-way supervisors. And our city manager has actually spearheaded a multi-agency coordination to further Caltrans response to encampments in our communities. So we're hoping to see some movement here in the coming months. We've also applied for a state encampment resolution fund grant, which would be able to help us with our outreach efforts. And finally, on the next slide, I wanted to share that there is an opportunity, if this is an issue that interests you, that you would like to get more involved with. Having access to reliable data is really important for us to be able to address this problem. And we only get that opportunity every 2 years through the one-day homeless count. For those of you who are early risers, it takes place at 5 a.m. I will be there out with a clipboard and counting, and would encourage as many of you who would be interested to come out and join me. This will really help us to understand who is in this population, ages, backgrounds, all the information that we need to go and advocate for additional funding and support. And I hope that you can join us. And now I'm going to hand, and there's information posted here, and I'm sure that we can get that to Sue to share with the group. And now I'm going to hand it over to our city manager, Melissa Stevenson Diaz.
Thank you very much, Hale, and thank you so much, Shannon, for filling in and helping with all of the slides. I really appreciate that. So I also wanted to note that Councilmember G is present, and as Mayor Hale noted, we have several city staff available if there's questions that we can help with answering. So first, I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that our city council is in the final stages of considering new maps for city council districts. We're required by law to adjust city council districts after a census has been conducted. And at their next regular meeting on February 14th, the city council will receive public testimony and potentially select a new map. You can find much more information on our city website. Next slide, please. We've also been focused, as you would imagine, on COVID-19 over the last several years. And we have a three-part pandemic recovery strategy focused on responding to immediate needs, restoring community vitality, and increasingly now focused on reimagining city services. We need to align our resources with the services that are most important to our residents. And at the February 28th City Council meeting, we'll start the process of developing our budget for the next year. We'll be working to address short-term deficits and planning for longer-term community needs. Next slide, please. As Mayor Hale noted, we have just launched a pilot program known as the People's Budget. And we would love to hear your thoughts on how to spend $1 million in one-time funds to support our community. And there are 2 workshops coming up, so you're welcome to learn more at a workshop and to submit ideas by February 19th. Next slide, please. We rely on community volunteers to share their experience and help shape city policies and services. And before we recruit new members to city boards, commissions, and committees later this month, we want to make sure we're being as effective as possible in reaching community members who might be interested in serving. We welcome your feedback on our recruitment strategies and a listening session on February 9th or through a survey on our website. Next slide, please. So I'd like to turn now to a few high-level updates on development projects in Redwood Shores. I know many of you are aware of the Redwood Life Project. And large development proposals like this typically take several years to review. There'll be several opportunities for community input, both now, before an application has been submitted, and after an application has been submitted. The review process will take at least 2 and potentially as much as 3 years, and includes review by the city's Architectural Advisory Committee and Planning Commission before any city council action. And public comment is sought at each of those stages. At this point, the applicant has not submitted a planning application, but is conducting outreach. Once we do receive the final project submittal, we'll be letting you know about that, and also updating the project development site, which is available from the website listed on the slide. Next slide, please. Also, just wanted to give you an update on two recent changes in ownership or potential use. So 10 Twin Dolphin was recently purchased by IQHQ. They're the new developer of the South Main mixed-use development site in downtown Redwood City, along with Greystar. We expect to hear more this spring on whether any changes are proposed at this site. And next slide, please. Additionally, developer Trammell Crow is considering a change in use from office to R&D lab at 240 Twin Dolphin. Their development team is still finalizing plans, and conceptual designs might be available by late February. We understand they plan to construct a building to the same scale that was recently entitled by the city, which is about 200,000 square feet commercial space. Next slide, please. So turning next to transportation, our Redwood City Walk, Bike, and Thrive initiative is developing 2 new plans for Redwood City: a citywide pedestrian and bicycle master plan, and a Vision Zero action plan. And these plans will recommend specific projects to support traffic safety and make walking and biking safer and easier than ever. We're currently in the second round of outreach, asking for community input on proposed projects, and encourage you to check out our website and take a survey to learn more. Next slide, please. As you likely know, in 2021, we repaved Twin Dolphin Drive, and this project also installed new curb ramps, replaced traffic signal loop detectors, and added bicycle lanes. Next slide, please. This year's paving project includes maintenance on multiple streets in Redwood Shores. We are currently out to bid on the project. We'll be notifying impacted property owners before the start of construction later this spring. And we'll be providing updates to the pilot and sharing ongoing construction updates through the city's website. Next slide, please. We're also making progress on multiple fronts to improve the levees around Redwood Shores. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers obtained funding to study a partnership with the city on a levee project. If that study is successful, the project could receive up to $10 million in federal funds. Additionally, we're seeking a $2 million grant from FEMA to develop plans for flood protection in Redwood Shores. And we continue to partner with One Shoreline, who will coordinate among the many stakeholders that would benefit from improving the levees. Next slide, please. Also, we'll be ending with a couple of updates on park project and senior programming in Redwood Shores. Last fall, our Parks, Recreation, and Community Services staff sought input on improvements to Dolphin. Our landscape architect firm is currently revising plans based on that feedback. We think we'll have updated plans by mid-February and be seeking comment through the end of February. We're hoping to begin construction by fall 2022. Next slide, please. We'll also be seeking input through a neighborhood survey around Marlin Park to gain input about the possibility of constructing 4 dedicated pickleball courts. Next slide, please. And finally, we have several senior-specific recreation programs that are continually being provided in Redwood Shores. These include yoga, tai chi, ping pong, senior service speaking series, and walking clubs. We also held 2 mandolin orchestra performances at Sandpiper Community Center last fall. So with that, I'll stop with the overview and be happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Giselle, and thank you, Melissa. Very much appreciate it. We're going to move on and go to Jeff G., our council member who represents our district, District 1. Jeff, are you there?
I'm here.
Sorry, I can't.
Okay, and thank you, Mayor Hale and City Manager Stevenson Diaz for the broad overview. There's a lot going on in Redwood City, and you have a big slate of speakers, so I'm going to be very brief. First thing I want to do is just wish everybody a happy Lunar New Year. Yesterday was the first day of the Lunar New Year, welcoming the year of the Tiger. So best wishes on a healthy year, even though it may be the beginning of the trilogy. Hopefully it won't keep going, but hopefully good health to everyone, prosperity, and best wishes to all of you and your family. Redwood City will be welcoming the year of the Tiger on February 12th from 11 to 4 at Courthouse Square. Hope you have time to stop by. Next, I'd like just to thank all the volunteers that help keep Redwood Shores clean. I mean, I'm out on a regular basis throughout the shores, and there are a number of volunteers in our community that are always picking up things, picking up trash, keeping Redwood Shores clean. So thank you. You're not unnoticed, and I want to pass along my appreciation. The best thing I can say is there's a lot going on, and there's even more coming, and it requires even more collaboration than ever before with our partners at the federal level. When we look at the infrastructure package that was signed, there's $1 trillion of infrastructure funding coming out to everyone, whether it be water treatment, streets, freeways, buses, sea level rise, climate change. There's a big push to get that money out working, and we have to work together with our partners that are even in this meeting. We're partnering with the county on one shoreline on sea level rise and levees. It just takes a tremendous amount of effort because we can't go it alone anymore. To be competitive, you have to have partnerships, and that's what our funding partners are looking for. The last thing I just want to say is I want to reemphasize the importance of being involved. As our city manager said, we have a listening session coming up for our boards, commission, and committee members. Redwood Shores really needs to be involved at our boards and commission level. And I really would encourage people to listen in, share your thoughts and comments, and see what you can do to participate, because that really makes a difference. I think all of us on the council worked hard to make sure our boards and commissions represent all of Redwood City, including Redwood Shores. We need to keep it going, and I would encourage members and residents to participate, raise your hand, and share. We've had residents serve on our redistricting advisory committee. We have had members serve on our planning commission. I see Sean White, former planning commission member, in the meeting. So please sign up and participate. And Sue, thank you for the opportunity. I'll be around for questions. Appreciate the opportunity.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Very much appreciate your time. Okay, it appears that Martha Cullimore, our nominating committee chair, she's not able to somehow get on Zoom, but she is on. So we're going to conduct our couple of minutes of business, and then we'll go over. Oh, there she is.
I was able to get on, yes.
All right,
I'm not sure what was wrong with this computer, but I'm here now. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, we'll let you conduct our little bit of business.
Okay, let me talk for just a couple of minutes on behalf of the Redwood Shores Community Association Nominating Committee. We have met as required by the bylaws, and we present our recommendations for members of the board, its officers for the year 2022. If anyone wishes to make nominations for any of the following positions, please do so now in chat. The following board members whose terms expire in 2022 are renominated to the board for another term: Carol Ford, Rona Gundrum, Connie Munavar, and Martha Cullimore. All board members will serve on the board for a term of 2 years. The Redwood Shores Board also nominates 3 new board members to be elected at this annual meeting. We're delighted to have them: Sean White, Ann Hagan, and Aaron Sussman, a police officer with the Redwood City Police Department. And finally, the committee makes the following nominations for a slate of officers to serve for a term of 1 year. President, again, our favorite, Sue Nix. Vice President, Stephen Sujisaka. Secretary, Martha Cullimore. And Treasurer, Bob Sluster. We ask that everyone attending this meeting please vote for those nominated on the Google link emailed to you with your connection to this meeting. The voting will close at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Martha. So at this point, we are going to move on to the agenda. It's Dr. Darnise Williams, who's the superintendent of the Sequoia High School District. I believe she's on. If we're able to have her.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am-
Thank you so
I am-
much.
Oh, thank you. I am actually, well, I was signing on from another device. I am double booked tonight, so I was trying to sign on to the computer, but it doesn't look like that's working. It says I need authorized use. So, hello, everyone. Just want to say my name is Dr. Darnise Williams. I am the newly selected superintendent of Sequoia Union High School District. Thank you this evening for having me. It is indeed a pleasure. I am going into my 8th month. Yay! And so it has been indeed a pleasure. I come to you by way of Southern California, LAUSD. I've spent most of my career between traditional and charter school in terms of starting off as an English teacher. Yay, English teachers, for middle, high school, and then an administrator at all levels up to a senior cabinet level for TK 12 systems. I've taught at the university level, and then now I'm here in wonderful San Mateo County at Sequoia Union High School District. Just a couple of updates. I was given a few questions. One is about Cullimore. Cullimore is one of our prize schools, one of the schools that we are very proud of. And just to know that we are in transition in terms of leadership. And we did have our formal principal, Ralph Crane, and we give kudos to him who has served several years in our district, and with a commitment to children and students and community for students to do well, has moved on and advanced to the CBO level, senior cabinet in another district. So we wish them well. In the interim, we do have our veteran principal, Sean Priest, who currently serves dual roles as a co-interim principal at the Sequoia Union High School District, as well as Carmel High School, along with the assistant principal, Gay Buckland, and they share that responsibility. We are currently in the process of selecting or advertising actually for a new principal. The window will close in early March. We are hosting and having interviews in March, and we are targeted and scheduled to announce a new school leader by April of this year. And so we're really excited. It's a collaborative process. We have a leadership associate who is a consulting firm and selection firm who is leading this process. So we're looking for top candidates to apply. And also it will require community input. That means from all stakeholders, students, parents, community members, teachers, classified members, in order to select the next leader for Cullimore High School. Just an update in terms of COVID, just know that we are committed to in-person instruction. We are pleased to announce that we have finally hit a peak, we believe, in terms of our COVID cases since the Omicron surge. And we are very pleased with that, because we know that it has been a very grueling task in order to contact trace and to test and to do all of those things that we must do in order to remain safe. Yet, we committed the beginning of the school year to in-person instruction, and we're continuing, and we are proud of our teachers for continuing to remain committed to that goal. We continue to keep our mitigation strategies in place. We offer weekly testing on a rotational basis at each of our high school campuses, including our adult school. We also offer antigen isolation testing after 5 days if our staff members have been diagnosed with COVID. And if they test negative, we offer the test so that they can return to employment. We are also providing our staff members and students with KN95 masks for their protection. And our goal is to continue to make sure that we create safe spaces so that learning can continue. In addition to the COVID-19 mitigation strategies, we are also continuing to focus on instruction. We know that for the last 2 years, almost three years now, our students have been kind of in flux in terms of their instruction, but we want to rest assured and to reassure you that we are doing everything that we can do in order to provide a robust instructional experience for those kids who are in isolation because they have been tested positive for the COVID-19. And then also for students who just don't feel safe, we have the independent study program. And so all in all, we are committed to continuing to provide a robust college and career educational program for all of our students, despite COVID-19 and the pandemic. And we look forward to, hopefully in the next couple of months, transitioning from the pandemic to an endemic so we can meet in person. And then also so that we can have that humanity, the interaction that we're accustomed to. We have realized that we have so much social emotional challenges with our students because of COVID and the feeling of isolation, that we've been working to provide support not only for our students, but also for our staff members. And so we will continue to pursue excellence through providing instructional programs that will advance our mission, and then also coupled with social emotional support to make sure that we are re-engaging our students in meaningful ways and that they feel supported and they feel protective, and most importantly, that they feel safe. And so with that, thank you for having me. I look forward to extended conversations. Please feel free to email me if you have questions. I will place my email in the chat. And I can say, as a new superintendent and a newbie to Northern California, that this is one of the greatest experiences that I've had in my entire life. And that's huge for me to say. So I enjoy Sequoia Union High School District and the family ties and the feeling of belongingness. And I will continue to pursue excellence for all students and advocate for all students within our district as long as everyone will have me. And that will be a long time, because it will take a long time and a lot to get rid of me. So enjoying myself. You all continue to remain safe. And thank you again for having me. And I will take questions at this time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Williams. I know you've got to get over to another meeting. Everybody's
I know.
stretched, so we very much appreciate you being on the call, and we will let you go.
Thank you so much, everyone. Be safe. Have a great evening. Thank you so kindly.
Thank you. Thank you. We are going to skip over now to, and I'm sorry, we're having to skip around on the agenda because so many people have multiple meetings and tasks to do this evening. So at this point, we'd like to have the mayor of Belmont, and that is Julia Mates. I believe I saw her on.
Hi, folks. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you for accommodating me and my schedule, not being able to join you for all that long. So I've been asked just to provide a little bit of an update of what's going on here in Belmont that may impact the Redwood Shores community. And some of this you may have already heard. It's, there's some some things happening that are exciting, but I could see probably impacting Redwood Shores a bit, especially the Shoreway Road and Oracle area. So we actually have some strong interest in biomed development in that area. I think it's actually in the buildings that were once, operated and owned by Oracle that are now that are available since some of the operations in Oracle have moved. And then there may be also some additional buildings that will be built in that area. I don't know, the plans aren't finalized yet, so I don't exactly know what it'll look like, but I do know that there's some strong interest in biomed development in that area, coming to that area. And then there's also biomed coming to the Harbor Industrial area. So if those of you know where that is, it's actually county owned, but it's in our area that that under our jurisdiction. And it's sort of east of El Camino, but it's El Camino and starts with Harbor. So it's that area that now has some, just those, tilt up buildings that are sort of warehouses. There's, I think, a public storage building there. And there's some housing developments that are coming in that area, as well as a proposal for a pretty large biotech building. So there's going to be some long range planning and some development there that we're going to be doing. And then the other big news is Stanford and their agreement with NDNU. And so they're working toward the purchase of NDNU, and they're slowly kind of rolling that out. Right now, they've just kind of announced it. They're talking to the community, doing a lot of community outreach, and then they plan to move. They're not going to move anything from the main campus, but they're going to, they're trying to figure out, I think, internally what to do at the NDNU campus. But it's probably going to be something related to their long range vision planning and the additional space that they'll need for that. So again, they're not thinking about moving anything from the main campus to NDNU, but rather using that as extra space to do something creative. And then we've got a lot of housing units that are coming online, about 4 kind of in that east of the El Camino area, which, is likely, if there's anything that will impact Redwood Shores, it would probably be that that area. And all of those are actually also on our website, but there's a few hundred units coming in. And I think that's really the most of, I think, what would impact Redwood Shores.
Great. Hopefully we can work together so we get communication as to what, especially the building and the change of hands of some of the commercial buildings, because that's always a huge interest to us. But greatly appreciate you taking the time to be on tonight. I know that you had another place that you needed to be, but you graciously took the time to be on.
Sure, anytime. And if folks do have more questions, I mean, again, some of this information on the details of some of the projects and things that some of it is available online. And then some of it is, I'm not being vague, we really just only know kind of that there's some talks happening and people interested, but there hasn't been any real, projects or anything that have come before us, or applications that have been pulled or anything like that. So until that happens, we may not know more, but always feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I'll make sure that we keep you folks abreast of what's happening, especially, like I said, in the Harbor Industrial area and the Shoreway, along that Shoreway area, since that's going to impact you folks the most.
Great. Thank you again.
Absolutely. Nice seeing you all.
Have a good rest of the evening.
Thanks, you too.
On
Bye-bye.
to the next meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so next we will go to our the additional city that's our next door to us, which is San Carlos, and we're going to have Sara McDowell, the mayor, let us know what's going on in San Carlos.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen, so bear with me for just a moment here. Okay, can everybody see that? Yes, okay, perfect. So good evening, everyone. My name is Sara McDowell. I'm the mayor of San Carlos, and I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to speak this evening. I too have been asked to speak specifically to issues that are of interest to the Redwood Shores community. So the main topics that I will discuss are our East Side Vision Plan, a development project on Skyway Road, the Holly and 101 interchange, the Shoreway Road pipeline project, and how to stay informed going forward. So first, one of our council's top strategic goals last year was to work with our community to develop an East Side Vision Plan, which is really an innovative tool to look at development in a holistic way. The east side of San Carlos, as seen in this map, is bordered by El Camino and Highway 101. The area outlined in navy blue is what we are calling the East Side Innovation District. This area is expected to transform over the next decade to accommodate new land uses in areas such as biotech, life sciences, and high tech. This slide shows the pipeline of projects coming into this area. What you're looking at is about 1.7 million square feet of net new development. One is a hotel, but many are life sciences. And I think it's important to note that the city's general plan, which was passed back in 2009, did envision this kind of development on the east side, and it planned for an influx of 9,000 new jobs by 2030. The vision plan kicked off last January, and it was completed and passed in October. Over those 10 months, our staff gathered input and feedback from residents, business owners, property owners, and Greater East Side neighbors. This slide is a general overview of the plan in its completed form. The plan contains what we call the 10 big moves for this area, which I will briefly touch on. The first big move is to establish Industrial Road as a green boulevard, which you can see dotted with trees in this slide, and it will also be bike and pedestrian friendly. The second is to establish an open space network, which you can see in this slide with the green dotted paths throughout the space. This goal will provide publicly accessible, connected open spaces and trails in the district. The third big move is to promote environmental stewardship with restoration of Pulgas Creek in the right-hand side of the slide. The fourth is to integrate recycled water infrastructure and projects into the district. The fifth is supporting distinct district sub-areas to support a diverse mix of businesses. This is noted in the brown area on the map as a catalyst sub-area for large developments, while the gray area to the left of that is the industrial core area with smaller businesses. The sixth big move is to prioritize activity hubs, which are delineated with the thick orange lines. These will be areas prioritized for retail, restaurants, and businesses serving daily amenities for the community in this area. The seventh is fostering an inclusive business environment to protect and support our small businesses in manufacturing. The eighth is investing in multimodal streets to promote safe walking and biking in the area. The ninth is reducing congestion, so looking at holistic transportation strategies such as shuttles. And the 10th is to adopt a shared district parking strategy, which is really a creative tool to look at parking as a park once strategy and locates parking within walking distance of a mix of uses. So I recognize that traffic is a concern with new development, and this is something that our council considered quite a bit. The traffic mitigation plan includes investing in multimodal streets to promote safe and accessible walking and biking, reducing congestion through coordinated transportation like carpooling and potentially a district shuttle, and adopting the shared district parking strategy, which I referred to earlier. More information and the entire plan can be found at cityofsancarlos.org/innovation district. Moving on, you may have noticed a new project being constructed at 655 Skyway Road. This project is a 2-story office building with airplane hangars. I personally appreciate the fact that each airplane hangar is slated to be named after famous women aviators. This project is estimated to be completed in the fall of 2022. Another project that I know is of interest is the 101 Holly interchange. The goal is to modify the interchange and construct a new pedestrian overcrossing to improve safety. This project is still on hold as we continue to seek grant funding. I'm guessing the Shoreway Road pipeline project is already on your radar. I see Teresa Herrera here tonight, so I'm not going to get into this too much. But my understanding is it's scheduled to be completed in the spring of 2023. And finally, if you'd like to follow projects in San Carlos, you can sign up for notifications at cityofsancarlos.org/connect and select e-notify. You can then choose from a menu of options of projects that you're interested in, such as the Holly Street 101 interchange project that's circled in this slide. And an email on these topics will come straight to your inbox whenever there are updates. So I would strongly encourage you to sign up for that service in order to stay informed. So thank you again for your time. My email is smcdowell@cityofsancarlos.org. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime with questions. And thanks again for having me here tonight.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We really appreciate knowing everything that's going on with the two cities that we're connected to, Belmont and San Carlos. It's really important for us as a community, especially since we only have two ways in and out of our little island. So greatly appreciate you updating us. Okay. So next, we're going to have the superintendent of the Belmont-Redwood Shores School District, Jan. I believe he's on there. Let us know what's going on with our elementary and middle school. Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation to address the association this evening. I do have a presentation that I'll see if I can share here. Let's see. And let's see here. Is everybody able to see that? Perfect. Let me just adjust my screen real quick. My apologies. I like to see folks as I'm talking. All right, great. So thank you again for inviting the district to participate in the evening tonight. Really want to just talk about tonight the future of BRSSD and really focus on the excellence that is happening in our schools and in our district. Just for reference, we are led by 5 distinguished members of our community, our Board of Trustees, 3 of which live in Redwood Shores: Trustee Rahila Posse, Trustee Suwarna Bhopali, and Trustee Amy Koo. I thank them for their leadership, their tireless efforts throughout the pandemic. They've been really instrumental in the district's success and our forward movement. I want to go ahead and start by talking about our commitment to student safety and our commitment to in-person learning. I know that was one of the desires of the association to learn more about. First off, I want to just start by saying we're following all of the CDPH, California Department of Public Health, San Mateo Public Health guidelines. The robust protocols ensure that our students are learning in safe environments each and every day. The efforts to ensure local access to vaccination have been a priority in district. And we wanted to make sure that all eligible and all interested in participating and getting the vaccine had the ability to do so. So we arranged vaccine clinics since last spring. So far, we've vaccinated over almost 3,000 students and a few adults as well in the process. Our clinics really help support getting vaccines out locally. In district, we have a number of different testing options for our students and our staff. Our students and staff participate in weekly pooled testing. That's one of the biggest mitigation factors. If we can identify a COVID positive individual and get them to quarantine or isolate and not spread it, that's going to be the biggest impact in keeping our schools open. We do weekly pooled testing for students and staff. We have about 74% of our students opting in to that program, which is great. We're offering on-site antigen testing to identify COVID positive individuals as we need. So if a student comes to the office is not feeling well, we are able to provide antigen testing on site. And then also within our community, we offer PCR testing via worksite labs. Two sites in district. One is at Ralston and the other one is at Redwood Shores. Both sites are open 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Appointments are available, and for the most part, readily available. And the question I get, is it open to the community as well? Absolutely. We do want you to be able to take advantage of the testing site. We believe that if we're eliminating COVID in every part of our community, our students are all that more safe. So please feel free to take advantage of that. There's a community tab. Go ahead and select the community and you'll be able to schedule an appointment there. I believe Stephen said he'd be able to post this website. It has the link there. You can also just go on our district website and get the direct link there. Another piece, this is a graphic I've actually become known for, sharing the Swiss cheese model. When we talk about mitigation efforts and keeping our students safe and keeping our schools COVID-free, we really think about Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese has a number of holes, but as you layer one piece of cheese over the next piece of cheese, the holes start to disappear. So the idea is layering on mitigation strategies such as masking, such as ventilation, such as air filtration, such as social distancing, such as testing. All those areas help contribute to a more safe and healthy environment for all. So we're following a number of different protocols. We've gotten pretty good at it over the last few years, and again, committed to that in-person safe learning space in each of our schools. So from here, I'm not gonna talk anymore about COVID. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the great things that I love about our district. I figured I'd focus on two quick tidbits about our district, two quick tidbits about Redwood Shores, and two quick tidbits about Sandpiper, some things that stand out to me. So first off, our board has been working really hard to draft an equity statement to guide our work. And really the focus is on our students, to cultivate an environment of inclusion and mutual respect for one another, to ensure that all students have equally high outcomes, and to remove any barriers or obstacles that may get in the way. And really this student focus is to ensure that each of our students, regardless of everything they bring, achieve success and thrive. Thriving is really the important piece. This is a draft statement. We're always open to feedback. Our board will be evaluating it actually this month at our board retreat, and then looking at including it in a board policy in our upcoming meetings. The next piece that I just want to touch about that I'm really proud of is our response to social emotional learning and just school climate. We know that when students are thriving, they're in warm, caring environments. And I'm really proud of all the environments that our schools are creating to support our students. Post-pandemic, we put into play what's called SABRS, which is the social, academic, emotional, and behavioral risk screener. We took a look at, screened all of our students to see and look at factors that put them at risk throughout the pandemic. And we found 88% of our students, according to this survey, were really in that thriving zone. 12% of students were kind of borderline or very small margin. You see that at the bottom, the red, are really what we would consider at risk. So taking a look at that information and then being able to implement strategies to support our students and our families so that everybody thrives in school and in our community. Two pieces that play into that. One is Character Strong, which is our social emotional curriculum that teaches character development, helps students grow to be thoughtful, healthy, and kind. And also the social emotional component, the self-awareness, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. With the tools that we give our teachers, we can help our students grow and make sure that they're on track for success. I'll shift to Redwood Shores. Two things that are happening at Redwood Shores under one umbrella. The principal, Carrie Amsler, set the goal of students demonstrating an increase in their engagement, cooperation, and interdependence as measured by classroom and district assessments. Two pieces that are supporting this. One is the Claves partnership with Stanford University that really looks at language-based small group literacy curriculum, helping students become academically literate and do well in English language arts. And the second is the Mosaic Project. Principal Amsler brought in the Mosaic Project to support professional development that supports effective communication, conflict resolution, and also builds on equity and inclusion. Two tidbits for Sandpiper that I'm super proud of. Principal Higgins has been working with her staff this year to develop a profile of a graduate, they call it. Graduates of Sandpiper, they believe, need to be collaborative, critical thinkers, resilient, accountable, empathetic, empowered, respectful, and culturally aware. And these are some of the attributes that they're striving to ensure that all fifth grader, actually, I won't say that, all eighth graders leave Sandpiper. Sandpiper goes up to eighth grade. It's one of our TK8 schools. And then the second piece is their, what they call genius hours, is students take time to learn, create, design, build, and present on topics that they're passionate about. It's modeled after Google's 20% time for individual projects. Again, if we're able to connect, we're able to have that passion, then we're inspired, then we're connected, and then we learn. I highlighted just those two schools very briefly, but I do want to say BRSSD is home to 7 award-winning schools across the board. Ralston last year was recognized as the California Distinguished School, Fox National Blue Ribbon in 2020, and all of our schools have received Kent Awards and numerous other accolades. And that really comes from the local support. When we look at funding and sources, quality schools require local support. And I just want to thank you for supporting our schools via the Measure R and Measure K, School Force, all of our community members who annually donate, Sequoia Healthcare District, who's been instrumental in helping us support the social emotional needs, as well as our business community, Oracle, who helps support as well. Together, they support us with approximately $7 million each year. So that is incredible support, and we are very grateful to be a part of this amazing community. So with that, comments or questions, you can always email. I am always happy to have conversations with folks on the phone, so you can feel free to call me as well. And with that, I'll take comments or questions, or I'll hang out till it's time for that.
Thank you, Jan. We're going to move on just because we have still several more on the agenda. If we have time for questions at the end, if anybody has anything, to put it in the chat. If not, you can always email the various speakers and they will get back to you. But thank you very much for letting us know what's going on at the district. Sounds like things are going well, and with all the things that are going on right now, we hear a lot of good things. So
great.
Pleased to have you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, at this point, we're going to go over to Silicon Valley Water. Teresa Herrera, let us know what's going on with the big project.
Thank you, Sara. Thank you for the invitation for the board and Sue and all the members of the public that joined here. And I'm always very impressed with the amount of participation in the shores, and really appreciate that. I live in the city of Oakland, and there's nowhere near the kind of participation and just outreach that Redwood City and Redwood Shores enjoy. So I really appreciate it. I do have a presentation also, and I will attempt to share my screen also. Share. There we go. This is also one of my favorite meetings to present at. I don't know why. I don't know. I just like the vibe here. So thank you for the invite again. And I'm just going to go through some activities that affect Redwood Shores primarily. And the one that affects the shores the most is our rescue program, our regional environmental sewer conveyance upgrade. And this is the project where we're replacing our large force main with a tunnel and our various pump stations and our front of plant facilities at the treatment plant. So wanted to go over rescue and mostly the timing for when completion is going to happen, which is relatively soon. This green line shows what we call our gravity pipeline project, and that's the large tunnel boring machine that we've put a lot of articles into the pilot, etc. The location here, this little green dot, is the airport, what we call the airport access shaft, and that's where we launched the tunnel boring machine. That's directly across from the airport, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But the green line is the tunnel going that direction and then coming this direction to Bear Island. All of our tunneling activities are complete. So all the green line is complete now. And the contractor is just inserting pipe into the concrete tunnel that will carry the raw sewage to the treatment plant. And that's very close to being complete. July 2022, July this year is when everything will be demobilized and completed. Our front of plant facility is just this little purple box up here. We're starting to get into startup mode on that, and that's slated for completion in September, so this fall. And then finally, we have the pump station projects, which are all these white boxes. And those are the last leg of our rescue program, slated to be done in August 2023. And this blue line, the Belmont gravity pipeline, is what we call it. I'll go into a little bit more detail because that's very close to home to the Shores residents right along Shoreway Road. So I wanted to just reflect a little bit on some of the accomplishments last year, because we accomplished a lot. On the front of plant, on the tunnel boring machine, we had a visit from EPA administrator, and then we started some micro-tunneling activities. So this is the tunnel boring machine. We had a naming contest for this machine, and the name that was selected is Salus, who's a Roman goddess of water. So Salus completed her tunneling to the front of the plant, and here she is being taken out of her shaft when she reached the treatment plant. This is a picture of our front of plant activities. Lots of activities going on, lots of cranes happening, but we're making really good progress on all these facilities here. And you can see here in the lower left, Salus being taken apart and ready to be shipped back to Germany, where she came from, and where she'll be refurbished and sold to another project that needs to tunnel something. In August last year, we were honored with a visit from the new EPA administrator, Michael S. Regan. He's the first African-American EPA administrator. He was just not appointed to that position by President Biden, and really honored to have him visit our front of plant site. So that was pretty exciting for us. And then finally, the Belmont gravity pipeline work began on Shoreway Road via a micro-tunneling process. And I want to go through the difference between micro-tunneling and tunneling, because we use those terms a lot, and it can be a little bit confusing what the difference is. Here you go. So there's Salus in the background before she even began her journey. This is way back in 2018. No, actually 2019 is when she showed up on site. So tunneling, as Salus did, is a large diameter and goes for long distances. In fact, Salus tunneled for 2.5 miles without reaching ground. So she started at the airport access shaft, went 2.5 miles all the way to the treatment plant. Whereas microtunneling is a smaller diameter pipe, and it can only go shorter distances, up to about 1,500 feet. So because of that, we require to build shafts where the microtunnel machine will tunnel from and then be received at. And I'll show you on Shoreway Road specifically, these orange boxes show the shaft locations that are required to do a microtunneling project. So the Belmont gravity pipeline will go from this area, which is current location of the Belmont pump station. So it'll go from this location all the way down Shoreway Road, basically following the path of these orange boxes. Here it will cut across the interchange to this green area and then be tunneled over to this area, RS4, right behind, it'll go behind Izzy's restaurant, and then it'll tie into the gravity pipeline that we just put in. So currently, these shafts, JS1, it stands for jacking shaft 1, and RS1 is receiving shaft 1, as well as jacking shaft number 2. Those are being, the ground is being restored. So by the end of February, all the work that's being done on these shafts will be complete. They'll be covered, they'll be backfilled, covered, repaved. So we won't know anything happened underground there. Beginning in early March, after we restore these shafts, we'll begin excavating these 2 shafts, jacking shaft number 3 and receiving shaft number 3. And work will commence in this whole area. So all the way from RS3 to RS2 is where work will be done, beginning in March. Also beginning in March, which could affect Shores residents, is we're going to be having to close the road about right here. So you won't not be able to access Shoreway Road from Holly Street for a number of months. I think it's 5 months worth of time. So there will be detour routes, there will be signage of how to access some of these facilities, and every facility will be accessible, Linkso, the public storage, Shoreway, et cetera. So we've promised to keep all these businesses open. We're in constant communication with the business owners along this way, and they're being really cooperative and really thankful and appreciate their cooperation with us. And then after this work's done, then we'll be tunneling across the way and then finishing up. Let's see, we're anticipating finishing in I think it's spring or summer of 2023. So about a year's time, this entire project will be complete. This is just a picture, a photograph of what a shaft looks like. So it's big. It's big construction. And while the boxes look kind of small on here, it's in real life, they're pretty large. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see what a microtunneling cutting head looks like. And what to expect for next year, or for this year. Oh my gosh, we're in 2022. So as I said, we're starting up the front of plant as well as the gravity pipeline. Those will be both complete this year. The airport site it's owned by the county, San Mateo. We are leasing it from them currently. And when we are done with the work on the gravity pipeline, the site will be restored to the previous condition. We're working with the county to know if they want us to maintain anything there. We've put a lot of asphalt paving in, some stormwater improvements. So if they want us to keep it there, we can. But right now, the plan is to restore it back to the original condition that we started the lease in. And then also Bear Island site where the end of the tunnel will also be restored. And we'll be planting, we're working with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and we'll be replanting that site and, restoring the roadway that we had to put in there to natural conditions again. And then the construction on the pump stations will improve into 2023. And with that, here's my information of where you can find additional information. And we put regular updates in the pilot. So I hope folks take a peek at that and reach out with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. I do have one question. When you have to go across Holly, Redwood Shores Parkway, is that road going to have to be closed at any point, or? No, it will not. We'll have a shaft on either end, and no one will ever know that we're tunneling beneath the road. Terrific. That's the beauty of tunneling. Only having two ways in and out. If one gets closed, yes. It could cause a panic. So. Oh yes. That was one of our requirements, our criteria for building this thing. So yeah. And I have to let people know that Teresa and everyone at Silicon Valley Water, they have worked with RSCA and the whole community so closely all these years, and we really, really appreciate all the help and the support that you've had, making it a lot more streamlined for us. Because I don't know if a lot of people know that there was a point where Redwood Shores Parkway was going to be all tunneled all the way down, and that would have been a very big inconvenience for us for many years. And instead, they were able to come up with Silas, and the pipelines, it's dug all the way down there now. And most people didn't even know that it's already done. It's already done all the way out. It's already gone all the way from basically 101 all the way to the back of Redwood Shores, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and I do appreciate all the help and support that we've gotten from the shores. It's been a great partnership. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Thank you so much, Teresa. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our next speaker, a lot of people have been wondering where things are at as far as the development with Longfellow and how RSCA, what position and what where we stand. And so what I wanted people to know is that we are in partners with a new nonprofit within Redwood Shores called Save the Shores. And you'll be hearing a lot about them. There's been a little bit in the pilot, but I'm gonna have Odile, Sullivan, Sara let us know, give us some information about this new partnership that we have.
I'm trying to unmute.
Oh, there you are.
I was muted again. Yes, so I have a slide presentation to basically read. Thank you, Shannon. So Save the Shores, protect our community. That's the new nonprofit. And if you go to the next slide, please. What is Save the Shores? The mission of Save the Shores is to preserve and promote inhabitant benevolence, environmental balance, and ecological health and integrity around Redwood Shores. Our core initiatives consist of advocating for the shore's levees to be mitigated to combat rising sea levels, ensuring that our endangered species and wildlife remain protected, and educating the community on the significance of climate change in the area and what measures people can take to support our environment. In partnership with the Redwood Shores Community Association, Save the Shores opposes the proposed Redwood Life Development Project. And that's the next slide up. Yes, thank you. What is the Redwood Life development proposal. Longfellow and PGI real estate developers are proposing to redevelop the former Westport Technology Campus, now called Redwood Life, located along Marine Parkway between Bridge and Shell Parkways. The proposed development would replace the 22-story buildings with 16 5 to 6-story buildings, each standing over 100 feet tall, adding 2.4 million square feet of life science office space and employing up to 8,000 people. Redwood Life has proposed about 7,000 parking spaces. They may be required to supply something more like almost 9,800. This project will be built in 7 phases over a period of 10 to 20 years. And next. Why is Save the Shores concerned with the Redwood Life proposal? We've got 5 primary reasons. The first, the release of toxic chemicals and flammable methane gas. Prior to construction of the current technology park, the site was used as a municipal waste landfill. A cap was applied with the recommendation that it never be penetrated. To meet that recommendation, buildings were limited to 2 stories, which is what we have right now. The construction of these larger buildings that Redwood Life is proposing would require deep pile driving, destroying this cap and releasing toxic chemicals into the bay waters and air. That's the air that surrounds all of our communities here, the air that we all live and breathe in. Next. Second reason is decades of noise pollution from construction and traffic. And I think that speaks for itself. All of us living here can well imagine the nightmare that will be. Number 3, increased commute traffic and correspondingly increased carbon footprint. The traffic in Redwood Shores on Ralston Avenue and Belmont and along Highway 101 is often congested and gridlocked. We all know that. This congestion will only worsen with the many development projects already built and ongoing and planned for in San Carlos and Foster City. A project the size of this one in Redwood Shores with its 2 entrance and exit point funnels would add more traffic than the area can support. Next. Reason 4, compromise safety during natural disasters and emergencies. The addition of thousands of employees and guests to the already heavily populated mix of residents and businesses would further burden overstressed personnel and services. In the event of an emergency, an earthquake, or other natural disaster, vital services would have difficulty reaching communities quickly enough to offer assistance and prevent further harm. Next. And 5, truly massive buildings. The proposed buildings are 2 to 3 times higher than the existing structures and would add over 2 million square feet of office space. The buildings would also be much closer to residential properties, the Belmont Slough and the Redwood Shores Ecological Reserve, adding light pollution with dire repercussions to the human community and wildlife. And next. What can you do to help save the shores? Visit saverws.org. Join our team. Do you want to help community or do you have volunteer hours you need to complete? Donate your time and expertise to save the shores. Even if you're new to volunteering or if it's only for a few hours, your time would be valuable. And of course, all volunteer hours are flexible. We just need your help. 2, sign our petition. Our concerns need to be addressed and we must unite in raising our voices. Number 3, donate. Any amount you can contribute will help our cause by helping us reach more people. Maybe somebody could mute. Number 4, join our email list. Stay up to date on the latest news and events, including details on our petition drive starting in a few weeks and how you can get involved. Number 5, spread the word. Talk to your neighbors, call your relatives, text your friends. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us at the contact form on our website. And that's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Odile.
Sure.
Greatly appreciate your time. And again, you'll be hearing a lot more information about Save the Shores, information in the pilot, but we hope that people will volunteer, even if it's just an hour or two, to help this cause. So at this point, I'd like to thank all our various speakers and valuable city staff who attended the meeting tonight. It's always helpful to hear what's going on within our neighboring cities, schools, and Proper City. These people are extremely busy and have taken the time to attend the meeting, so I want to thank you. I hope wanted everybody to know that RSCA keeps their eyes and ears open as to anything that goes on within the shores, and we work very hard to keep Redwood Shores a great place to live and work. One item that I wanted to bring up, and I'm very happy to let the community know, is that RSCA has been working diligently with city staff, our police chief, and our library manager to obtain a police substation here in Redwood Shores. And I'm extremely happy to announce that Redwood Shores will have a police substation at our library shortly in the future. Details are still being worked out, and you can keep up with what's going on within the pilot. Whoops. Jeff, I'm sorry. Did you have a question? Sorry.
No, Sue, thank you. And thank you for the moment. I just wanted to thank you and ask Melissa to recognize the number of department heads that took time out of their schedule to attend the meeting tonight. You know, just to let the community know who's here. Not everyone may see the videos or the pictures, but Melissa, if you could just take a moment to acknowledge all of our department heads that took time out of their schedule to be here tonight. Thank you, Sue.
Yes, definitely. Very much appreciate.
Thank you. So my count earlier, and I'll double check if it's any different now, is we had Assistant City Manager Alex Kajikian, our Police Chief Dan Mulholland, our Fire Chief Ray Iverson, our Deputy Fire Chief Dave Pucci, our Parks, Recreation and Community Services Director Chris Beth, our Library Director Derek Wolfgrim, and our Redwood Shores Librarian Liz Meeks. And I hope I did not miss anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Sue.
Yes, very, very much appreciate you taking the time to attend. I also want to welcome our 3 new board members. Very pleased to have you on the board. I also wanted to thank all the board of RSCA. These people work tirelessly for the shores. I cannot tell you the amount of time that these people put in at all hours of the day and night. So greatly appreciate them. The other is, I really want to thank Stephen and Shannon Gazzetta, who put the meeting together and kept it together flawlessly. So very, very much appreciate their time and efforts. Sorry, Stephen just posted the nomination slate has been passed unanimously, so that's great. With that said, I really don't have anything else other than I want to thank all the residents on the Zoom call for taking the time this evening to attend. We all have busy lives and everyone's time is valuable. Please keep in touch with Redwood Shores. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about what's going on in Redwood Shores and believe that it's important to become members. We hope that you all are members of the Redwood Shores Community Association. With that said, I want to tell everybody to have a great evening and closing the meeting. Thank you again to everybody that's on.